As they call it.
The National Barn Dance invites Fibber McGee and Molly. Rochester.
Yes, boss.
Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater.
December 7th, 1941.
Benny Goodman and his orchestra. Coming to you from the Manhattan
Gangbusters.
1, 2, 3 o'clock.
In Philadelphia, air conditioned for the coolest sound in
It
town.
appears as though something has happened in the motorcade route.
I wanna hold your hand. Tonight in Los Angeles, you got the Wolfman Jack
They will not
showing
be
you.
judged by the color of their skin.
This is Randall Carlisle, 2020 News.
This is Rick Dees, and your uncandid phone.
Pirate Radio.
Well, we're having a tremendous aftershock right now.
You're listening to The Quiet Storm.
Are you aroused as we speak?
Live from Chicago, it's the 1992 Radio Hall of Fame Awards. Tonight, from the landmark Cultural Center on Michigan Avenue in Chicago, hundreds of people have gathered to honor some of radio's greatest names, to enshrine them in the Radio Hall of Fame. Join us for the next hour as we salute Don Ameche, ABC Radio's Leonard Goldenson, Kasem, legendary Detroit morning personality JP McCarthy, and the grand Ole Opry. You'll also hear from the Oak Ridge Boys and Porter Wagoner. The 1992 Radio Hall of Fame induction ceremonies are brought to you in part by your All-State agent for home, auto, life, and business insurance. You're in good hands with All-State. And now, your host for this evening, radio's most listened to personality, a past inductee into the Radio Hall of Fame, Mr. Paul Harvey.
Good evening, Americans. What Cooperstown is to baseball, Chicago is to broadcasting. This is where Major League Radio began. Guy Lombardo from the Edgewater Beach and Wayne King from the Aragon Ballroom, Amos and Andy and Jack Armstrong. Chicago was home for Fibber McGee and Molly, Don McNeil's Breakfast Club, birthplace of the daytime soaps. And now, the Radio Hall of Fame has come home to Chicago. Founded by the Emerson Radio Corporation in 1988, the administration of the Radio Hall of Fame was assumed by Chicago's Museum of Broadcast Communications in September of 1991. Tonight we'll honor people and programs in 5 categories: local radio personality, broadcast pioneer, network radio personality, network radio program, and one distinguished pioneer will receive the Emerson Award for lifetime achievement in this industry. Should you visit my skyscraper offices on Chicago's Michigan Avenue, your attention will focus first on a large portrait on the reception room wall. It's a portrait of a young boy whose clothing dates itself to a generation past. The plus fours are patched, wretchedly wrinkled. His misshapen shoes are worn out, one is worn through. But the boy, leaning on one elbow, is listening and rapt to a 1930s vintage cathedral-shaped multi-dial radio. The boy does not resemble any person in particular, except to me. There's incomparable might and majesty in the well-spoken word. Van Gogh is pleasing to the eye, but Shakespeare is fathomless. Our industry's poets you can count on your thumbs. Charles Currall, when he has time. Jack Whittaker, when some classic sporting event deserves added dimensions. Trust me to paint pictures on the mirror of your mind, and you will feel such agony and ecstasy, such misery and such magnificence as you would never be able to feel by looking at it. We court with the lights turned down to remain undistracted. We savor a fragrance or a kiss or a of foot massage with our eyes closed. As a boy, I fell in love with words and ran away from home and joined the radio. It was really something. Close your eyes and see. It still can be.
We're live from Chicago with the Radio Hall of Fame Awards. Coming up, the Oak Ridge Boys, country superstar Porter Wagoner, and Casey Kasem. Stay tuned.
On the river of life, things change.
Uh-oh. Why?
Like a river, life moves, grows, flows. Your Allstate agent can help prepare you for surprises, life's twists and turns, rapids, even a waterfall.
I prefer things nice and calm, like a pond or a lagoon. A bathtub is nice. That wouldn't have happened in a bathtub.
Which is exactly why you need to see your Allstate agent for an Allstate Protection Review.
I'm confused, disoriented, wet.
Your Allstate agent uses the Allstate Protection Review to help make sure your coverage is standing up to the test of time, and that you have the right kind of coverage for your home and car, and that your life insurance plan provides enough for now and later.
Oh, how nice. You brought a boat.
Navigating the river of life can be a lot easier with an Allstate agent on board. The Allstate Protection Review. You're in good hands with Allstate, a member of the Sears Financial Network.
You paddle. I'll just dangle my hand in the water.
If you love radio as much as I do, you'll be excited to know that starting this year, you can join the Radio Hall of Fame. Yes, you can become part of radio history yourself, helping the Radio Hall of Fame to grow into the future. Your membership means your name will be on the 1993 Honor Roll inside the Hall of Fame. And you can vote in next year's new Radio Hall of Fame Members' Choice category, where we'll honor one of your favorite personalities in our 1993 ceremony. And, of course, anytime you visit Chicago, come see the Radio Hall of Fame, see the real Charlie McCarthy, open up Fibber McGee's Closet, or join the studio audience for special Hall of Fame programs from our state-of-the-art studio. I'm inviting you to join with us tonight by calling 1-800-860-9559, where our operators will give you the details about the $30 membership. So if you want to see the best in radio remembered and honored, become a member of the Radio Hall of Fame at the Museum of Broadcast Communications in Chicago. Call 1-800-860-9559 for more information.
Tonight we welcome 5 new inductees into the Radio Hall of Fame, placing them among such fixed stars of the first magnitude as The Lone Ranger, Romance of Helen Trent, Ma Perkins, CBS Mystery Theater. In the program category, tonight's award will be presented by a group of 4 singer-musicians best known for their foot-stomping hit single Elvira. Ladies and gentlemen, the Oak Ridge Boys.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. If I can ad-lib for just a moment here, I want to say what a privilege and an honor it is for the Oak Ridge Boys to be here in this great place here in Chicago, Illinois. And we also want to send personal greetings to the king and queen of country music, Roy Acuff and Miss Minnie Pearl, who are at home in Nashville listening tonight on WSM 650. And we're thinking of them. The Program Award is presented to a local network or syndicated program of any length or duration that has distinguished itself through excellence or popularity. Tonight, it's our honor to present that award to the Grand Ole Opry. Later this month, the Grand Ole Opry celebrates 67 years of entertainment, making it the longest-running live radio show in history.
The Grand Ole Opry probably put Nashville on the map, the birthplace of country music. It all started as a live barn dance on WSM radio, with people clogging the hallways to watch the performers. That barn dance became the Grand Ole Opry, and it introduced America to early country stars like Johnny Cash, Grandpa Jones, the Everly Brothers, and Porter Wagoner. Some performers of the Grand Ole Opry have been members for over 50 years.
It became so popular, the Grand Ole Opry had to keep moving its stage so the growing number of fans could enjoy the show. It finally landed at its current home inside Opryland, USA, which is a 400-acre theme park with restaurants, rides, and gift shops. Now more than 16,000 people spend their Friday or Saturdays inside the theater, and thousands enjoy live broadcasts on WSM Radio.
Presenting the Grand Ole Opry.
The Grand Ole Opry can trace its roots to the Southern string music of the early 1900s. Radio station WSM developed its barn dance program in an effort to break up its usual fare of classical, operatic, and upscale dance band music. And soon after, local groups with colorful names like the Possum Hunters, the Fruit Jar Drinkers, and the Binkley Brothers Clodhoppers became its core performers. Before long, a host of rustic acts filled the airwaves every Saturday night with music, good humor, and sometimes irreverence. In fact, the name Grand Ole Opry came from an offhand takeoff on an NBC Grand Opera program by Opry founder George D. Hay.
Roy Acuff and his Smoky Mountain Boys lead off with that good old breakdown. Ida Red, let it go, Roy.
By 1939, a segment of the Opry was originated for NBC, and who better to be its star than the young Roy Acuff, who for over a year had been an Opry headliner. Acuff's popularity on the Opry virtually opened the floodgates for a host of artists who would parlay their association with WSM and the Opry into superstar status. For example, Bill Monroe, Eddie Arnold,
Darling, I'm lost at the end of the world.
Cousin Minnie Pearl, Hank Williams,
It's hard to know.
and the list literally goes on and on. The 1950s and 60s saw the Grand Ole Opry survive the onslaught of first television and later rock and roll, yet continue to present down-home yet cutting-edge country music, bringing to millions artists like Ray Price, Farron Young, Patsy Cline, and Porter Wagoner.
Ladies and gentlemen, Garth Brooks.
Today, in the great tradition of the sound medium, the WSM Grand Ole Opry continues as both a radio institution and truly the mother church of country music.
The Radio Hall of Fame is proud to induct the Grand Ole Opry. Here to accept the award is a man who's been a member of the Grand Ole Opry since the late 1950s. He's been releasing hit records for 30 years. Back in 1967, he auditioned a young singer named Dolly Parton, and together they won a Grammy for their single, Just Someone I Used to Know. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome country music legend Porter Wagoner.
Thank you very, very much. This is a great tribute. I accept this induction into the Hall of Fame for all of my Opry friends, and it certainly is a great honor for me to be here with so many important people and to represent the world-famous Grand Ole Opry. Actually, it's one of the greatest institutions, I think, in broadcasting. And the folks of WSM, I think when they first began, they didn't set out to design a radio station that would, in 1925, that would still be going some 67 years later. Somehow, they did it right. And through the hard years of the Great Depression, the uncertain times of World War II, a fast-changing industry in the 50s and 60s, the Opry has remained a constant on WSM radio. I'd like to take just a moment to salute some of the people who should get the credit for the Opry. I'm talking about the owners and operators of WSM and the Opry through the years. First, the National Life and Accident Insurance Company, who started the station and the Opry, and who cared for it, both of them, for many years. Today, we're owned by Gaylord Entertainment Company, whose president and CEO is Bud Wendell. And Bud once managed the Opry and still has a very special place for it in his heart. Bob Myers runs WSM Radio now, following a long line of great broadcasters. We're all thrilled to be in this wonderful Hall of Fame. And again, on behalf of all the members of the Grand Ole Opry family, thank you very, very much. And now you know the rest of the story. Good day. Thank you, brother.
Radio is the ultimate visual medium. The morning disc jockey is happiest hiding behind his microphone, leaving you with your more likely flattering illusions. Some examples assembled by Tom Laporte and Mike Krauser and Bob Dayton from WMAQ Chicago.
Radio's been part of American life since the 1920s, but radio in the morning wasn't much. You could exercise with John B. Gambling, perhaps, but radio magic was an evening spell. It wasn't until the 1950s, with television and suburbs on the rise, that AM Drive became an institution. We offer, without further narration, a celebration of morning radio through the years.
Exercise number 8, the revolve. Arms overhead, elbows stiff, circle the arms outward. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, down, up.
Time to join the millions of families from coast to coast and listen to America's favorite, the American Broadcasting Company's Breakfast Club with Don McNeil.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning to ya. We woke up bright and early. Just a howdy do ya.
It's 7:15, 7:15 o'clock. This is the Sundial, WJSB, Washington, D.C. The music is recorded. And Christopher Hopwood of Fulton Street Northwest is a birthday today.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon the Great Crusade.
Good morning, ladies. And how do you out there along the network party line? Greetings from the ladies having breakfast in Hollywood.
They're referring to us, Rayburn and Finch. A good day for you gals to do your shopping.
And of course, this is the Perry Allen Show, one of America's great listening posts.
Why, the boy needs help. He's not well.
Oh, well, it's 6 minutes before 7 o'clock. WKBW up and Atom time on a fearless Friday.
All New England depends on
WKBW Radio 103.
Well, let's try to get the springtime back on a little wet snow spree. On we go, the Carl DeSue Show.
This is KQV Traffic Copter for Cliff Heath Ford, the Ford dealer that gives you quality and service.
This is Mark Schaefer, KQV News.
Wanted to make sure I was doing the right thing, so I had a gypsy read my palm yesterday. I didn't like what she saw, so I'm having my hand removed. 8:36, 24 minutes to 9 o'clock. Dr. Don Rose.
Here, chicken man. Here, chicken man.
You call?
Robert W. Morgan, 93 KHJ.
Well, in just a couple of minutes from now, I'm going to add another $1,000 to that KHJ Laugh-In jackpot to make it worth $5,000 in cash.
Walter Brennan in his stereophonic overalls from the Gary Owens program from KFWB number 1. High today should be 88 degrees. Come on, let's go here.
Well, hello, sir. Well, this is Mr. Imus in New York. And nice to talk to you again. Let me ask you something. Is Idi Amin staying there?
Paul Harvey. Good day.
What is it that determines which of many radio stations is likely to become your favorite? Well, more often than not, it's a voice. It's a Harry Carey or a Mel Allen. Maybe a Don Imus, who earns his place in your heart and then into the Radio Hall of Fame. And now in the category of local or regional personality, here to present this year's award is WGN's Wally Phillips.
107 years ago, our fathers, who owned a piece of WJR in Detroit, scoured the country to find a young, brilliant, educated, intelligent, innovative, imaginative, erudite, sophisticated, mature, articulate, devoted, sincere, perspicacious, astute, extremely good-looking talent for their morning drive time. Unfortunately, I was signed with WGN at the time, so I wasn't available. So they thought, well, let's try another tack. What if we were to get something really innovative, the most ignorant, insulting, smarmy, scuzzy, scurrilous, revolting, repulsive, biased, bigoted, angry, tasteless, obnoxious, and obscene broadcaster in America. But at that time, Howard was 8 years old. And was still under supervision for a misguided lewd conduct report at a confessional at St. Patrick's Cathedral. So they picked J.P. McCarthy, a man who had been turned down twice by the Barbara Walters School of Speech. Nonetheless, he's been waking up Detroit on WJR radio for over 27 years, has been rated #1 for each of these years. He has a knack for getting important people to talk to him when they refuse interviews everywhere else. He sends his rejects to Larry King. The only person who ever declined an interview with JP, I don't know where he is today, but I'm sure Mr. Hoffa learned to regret. He's a self-made man, which will show you in a minute what unskilled labor can do. But the National Association of Broadcasters has nominated JP as Major Market Personality of the Year for the Marconi Awards 4 years of the award's existence. And Billboard magazine has given JP its National Radio Personality of the Year award 4 times. What's this guy all about, you say? Let's take a listen.
WJR, the legendary great voice of the Great Lakes. And for over 3 decades, the most familiar voice on WJR has been this.
Well, good morning, world, and a very pleasant Wednesday to you. Here at 19 minutes after 6, it's raining like the old proverbial cats and dogs.
When it comes to morning radio in Michigan, the word tradition is spelled with 6 letters. JP on JR in the AM.
WJR is a Detroit tradition, and JP McCarthy is the voice of Detroit.
We can talk to very important or controversial people and ask them very direct and pointed questions without being rude about it.
I can't tell you how many mornings I've had breakfast with JP McCarthy.
What's the problem with Barry Sanders? It doesn't add up to 150 million, Governor, so where's the rest of the money coming from? Your man has got to get tougher if he's going to close the gap, doesn't he? It would be nice to see the gloves off, though, one more time. Don't you think?
From President
JP, Magic talking to you again. I'm glad to hear your voice.
Well, it's nice to hear you.
Performers,
sir. Charlton Heston. Nice
Lovely
to
be borrowing your audience again.
To people all over Michigan.
Yes, what do you think?
Yes, good morning.
Hi.
I'm calling in from Lansing.
Everyone talks to JP.
The other end of my line this morning, maybe the greatest golfer who's ever lived. Name is Jack Nicklaus.
JP, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Day after his proudest moment, Lee Iacocca. Good morning.
Good morning, JP. How are you?
The right stuff is all about. Good morning, General Yeager.
Morning, JP.
John DeLorean, welcome back.
JP, it's a pleasure to see you again.
Yeah, but it's Raquel Welch doing it, so that counts.
You better believe it. It's my
President Carter. Have you ever buried the hatchet with the senator?
We've never had any personal animosity.
No one understands Detroit better. Nowhere else will you find a closer relationship between a city and its favorite radio personality.
JP knows everybody who's anybody in Detroit.
He's comfortable to get up with.
I like the way JP does it.
While his legions of loyal listeners are justifiably proud, to them and to everyone in Michigan, J.P. McCarthy has been a Hall of Famer for a long, long time.
I'm J.P. McCarthy. We'll get this turkey on the road in a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Radio Hall of Fame is proud, and I'm proud to be a participant in an opportunity to induct Mr. J.P. McCarthy.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Wally. Gosh, I've missed you, Wally. Those warm and wonderful, intimate introductions and moments we used to have took me weeks to get over them after we'd talk. I do feel a little bit like Admiral Stockdale, though. Who am I? What am I doing here? But I love it. Part of the reason I love it is because I grew up around the corner from the old WXYZ studios in Detroit. Remember, Mr. Goldenson, where they used to produce The Lone Ranger? And as a boy, I would watch these actors come in and out of the studio. Brace Beamer, the man who played Tonto, John Todd, the great Fred Foy, and they always looked like they were having so much fun. I wanted to grow up to be them. Well, I missed that, but this is as close as I'm ever going to get, and I am most grateful tonight. It is humbling to be in such august company tonight. Think of it. Leonard Goldenson, for whhom I used to work, Paul Harvey, with whom I share my morning time, Casey Kasem, another Detroiter, that great American institution, the Grand Ole Opry. I am awed. It is a major, major honor. There are lots of people I'd like to thank here. Too many, of course, to mention, but I'll try. FCC Commissioner Jim Quello, who took a chance on me a long time ago. Thank you, Commissioner, very much. To the Cap Cities ABC guys and Dan Burke, who brought me to Detroit from San Francisco. I didn't think it was such a great favor at the time. Thank you, Dan. To my good friend and mentor, Bill James, and to all of my friends, many of which are here tonight. My lovely wife, Judy, is here. I've got 5 of 6 kids here, and 60 or 70 great Detroiters. I have been in radio all of my adult life, which means that I have never, ever had a real job. Because it's been just wonderful fun, and I want to thank all of you for that. From the bottom of my heart, this Detroit boy will cherish this night forever. Thank you. Thanks, Raleigh.
You can become a part of radio history by joining the Radio Hall of Fame. Your membership puts your name on the 1993 honor roll inside the Hall of Fame, and you can vote in next year's new Members' Choice category, where we'll honor one of your favorite personalities in our 1993 ceremony. Of course, anytime you visit Chicago, come see the Radio Hall of Fame, see the real Charlie McCarthy, open up Fibber McGee's closet, or join the studio audience for special Hall of Fame programs from our state-of-the-art studio. Just call 1-800-860-9559, where operators will give you details about the $30 membership. So if you want to see the best in radio remembered and honored, become a member of the Radio Hall of Fame at the Museum of Broadcast Communications in Chicago. Call 1-800-860-9559 for more information. There's a lot more to come in the induction ceremony from the Radio Hall of Fame. Stay tuned for Leonard Goldenson, plus a scan across the dial looking for unusual formats and sports highlights. We're live from Chicago.
Your Allstate agent wants to be your agent for life.
Gee, life insurance. I didn't know you felt that way.
I do. Always have. Remember how we met?
That cute little car?
Turquoise. Airbags, anti-lock brakes.
You remember.
And your first apartment.
You were irresistible with your Allstate renter's insurance.
And the long evening we spent together. Reviewing your coverages.
And now you want to be my agent for life. Life insurance. Am I ready?
Who understands your needs, your wants, everything about you better than I? The Allstate agent who insures your home and your car.
No one other than my husband.
I am your husband.
I knew you looked familiar. I'm so lucky.
Not just lucky. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Allstate Life Insurance Company, Northbrook, Illinois, is a member of the Sears Financial Network.
If you love radio as much as I do, you'll be excited to know that starting this year, you can join the Radio Hall of Fame. Yes, you can become part of radio history yourself, helping the Radio Hall of Fame to grow into the future. Your membership means your name will be on the 1993 honor roll inside the Hall of Fame. And you can vote in next year's new Radio Hall of Fame Members' Choice category, where we'll honor one of your favorite personalities in our 1993 ceremony. And, of course, anytime you visit Chicago, come see the Radio Hall of Fame, see the real Charlie McCarthy, open up Fibber McGee's closet, or join the studio audience for special Hall of Fame programs from our state-of-the-art studio. I'm inviting you to join with us tonight by calling 1-800-860-9559, where our operators will give you the details about the $30 membership. So if you want to see the best in radio remembered and honored, become a member of the Radio Hall of Fame at the Museum of Broadcast Communications in Chicago. Call 1-800-860-9559 for more information.
Radio, which now embraces our planet, and indeed even other planets, was godfathered by a handful of most extraordinary men: Marconi, Armstrong, Lee DeForest, David Sarnoff. These have already received the ultimate Emerson Award for their contributions, but there's one more of the giants, and he's with us tonight. And here to present him is a gentleman who recognizes me as his founding father, who shares my microphone, who writes for ABC the rest of the story, concert pianist, composer, and my very dear son, Paul Harvey, Jr.
Now, the Emerson Award. This award is presented each year in appreciation of the Emerson Radio Corporation for having founded the Radio Hall of Fame. It is an honor bestowed in recognition of a distinguished lifetime of achievement in the areas of production, management, or technology. 39 years ago, when everyone else was selling radio stations, one man was buying them. When one network was number 4 among 4, one general directed an undermanned army to outmaneuver the opposition until number 4 became number 1. Today, this venerable and venerated man is still at his desk each morning before most of the rest of us are. So history has yet to write the rest of the story of this multimedia pioneer, this godfather of the ABC networks, Leonard Goldenson. WLS Radio recently spoke with people who worked alongside Mr. Goldenson during the exciting era over which he presided, and they remember those days well.
Leonard Goldenson has always believed in radio as an industry, and to this day, he continues to inspire men and women of radio by challenging them to innovate, to change, and to better serve the ever-shifting radio audience. Those closest to Mr. Goldenson say he grabbed the radio industry by the lapels and personally turned ABC into the dominant radio networks of the 1990s. Ed McLaughlin, former president of ABC Radio Networks.
He almost challenged you to fail. And by doing so, you normally succeeded. Leonard would say, do you believe it? I'm not going to tell you that he didn't always check things out a little bit, which he did. You know, he would check the premise out with other people. But if he thought the people around him believed in its viability, then he trusted the people that he put into positions. Was he a pioneer at the very beginning of radio? No. But he was a pioneer in the sense that he changed radio. The ABC Radio Group became the most successful radio group in the probably in the history of radio.
Under Leonard Goldenson, ABC turned one radio network into 4, each serving distinctly different radio formats and each with its own personality, as befitted the narrowly defined formats which emerged in radio and which continue to this day, powered by such notable personalities as newscaster Paul Harvey and everyone's favorite host of The Breakfast Club, Don McNeil.
Well, I'll say one thing about him. He's someone I remember and respected and liked very much. And I can say that for a lot of other people that I know, too, that knew him. That's for sure.
Radio. From its earliest days through the cable era, to telephone lines, to the satellite age and beyond, Don McNeil's description, respect, will continue to be the most fitting tribute the radio industry can give to a true leader, Leonard Goldenson.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Radio Hall of Fame is proud to induct Mr. Leonard Goldenson.
Thank you, Paul, for your kind introduction. And thank you all very much for this singular and impressive honor. Radio is the most resilient and popular of all mass media. It keeps reinventing itself and surviving and flourishing. We could all learn something from radio's ability to adapt to changing circumstances. When motion pictures came along, and later television, people predicted the demise of radio. I never believed radio was destined for extinction. And in the early 70s, while ABC was losing money on its one radio network, we decided to go with 4. We lost money for 4 years, but ultimately were successful. And ABC now has 8 different program services. We are fortunate to be associated with this enduring and vibrant medium. It is a privilege to be here tonight, and I am honored to be inducted into the 1992 Radio Hall of Fame. Thank you all again very much.
Americans, scan the dial. Help yourself to some of anything, sports or news, information or commentary, talk or music or whatever, conventional and unconventional. Bill Towery and David Hepniger of WCKG FM in Chicago have found some formats in places that will be new to you.
Pardon me. Do you like the radio? Certainly, I love it. You got it.
We're not playing the Grateful Dead again.
Come on, man, play it.
Let's play something from this century.
What you were just listening to, ladies and gentlemen, was side 1 of Marcel Marceau's new hit single. Well, it's not a hit yet, but we think it will be.
In today's ever-changing radio marketplace, the longevity of the average format can last about as long as a department store white sale, for a limited time only. So it would stand to reason that the more different you sound, or the more specific your target audience, the better off you'll be. For example, all Navajo.
All Navajo, all the time. This is KNDN, Farmington, New Mexico, 960.
Okay, are you getting all this? Good. There will be a pop quiz later. Or perhaps you'd like to attract more listeners with these tender love ballads.
Hey, hey, mama said the way you move, gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove. Been a long time since I rock and roll.
Who knows where this stairway will lead? A station in Clearwater, Florida has taken the classic rock radio format a step further by adopting an all Led Zeppelin format.
Then again, maybe the biggest remaining piece of the marketing pie is comprised of the smallest people in town.
Introducing the next generation radio station, CSN, the Children's Satellite Network.
The magic dragon. The words ready to die. Turn on your heart light. I really like my haircut.
1280 Radio Oz. Do you remember your first haircut? Were you scared?
Oh, I was petrified. I was so scared I whoopsied all over Dad and the barber. It was... Oh, sorry.
This must be one of the strongest transmitting stations in these parts. I dare say you're probably getting out 2 or 3 miles.
Other unique radio formats that have come and gone, and who knows, may come again, include all Beatles, all comedy, all Merle Haggard, all game shows, all agriculture, all polka, all Elvis, all Louie Louie, and all Christmas. But not all of those we contacted who worked these formats were all that excited about all this exposure. Still, it was fun. And isn't that why we got into this business, after all?
Turn on that radio and back here, so we can all be quiet and peaceable and have a few beers together and listen to the music.
Oh, a microphony. And a phony at the mic. Get over there. Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
Don't you let all that power go to your head now, you hear? I appreciate it.
We're live from the Radio Hall of Fame in Chicago. Coming up, Kasem, plus a taste of talk radio across the country. Please stay tuned.
On the river of life, things change.
Uh-oh. Why?
Like a river, life moves, grows, flows. Your Allstate agent can help prepare you for surprises, life's twists and turns, rapids, even a waterfall.
I prefer things nice and calm, like a pond or a lagoon. A bathtub is nice. That wouldn't have happened in a bathtub.
Which is exactly why you need to see your Allstate agent for an Allstate Protection Review.
I'm confused, disoriented, wet.
Your Allstate agent uses the Allstate Protection Review to help make sure your coverage is standing up to the test of time, and that you have the right kind of coverage for your home and car, and that your life insurance plan provides enough for now and later.
Oh, how nice. You brought a boat.
Navigating the river of life can be a lot easier with an Allstate agent on board. The Allstate Protection Review. You're in good hands with Allstate, a member of the Sears Financial Network.
You paddle. I'll just dangle my hand in the water.
If you love radio as much as I do, you'll be excited to know that starting this year, you can join the Radio Hall of Fame. Yes, you can become part of radio history yourself, helping the Radio Hall of Fame to grow into the future. Your membership means your name will be on the 1993 Honor Roll inside the Hall of Fame. And you can vote in next year's new Radio Hall of Fame Members' Choice category, where we'll honor one of your favorite personalities in our 1993 ceremony. And, of course, anytime you visit Chicago, come see the Radio Hall of Fame, see the real Charlie McCarthy, open up Fibber McGee's Closet, or join the studio audience for special Hall of Fame programs from our state-of-the-art studio. I'm inviting you to join with us tonight by calling 1-800-860-9559, where our operators will give you the details about the $30 membership. So if you want to see the best in radio remembered and honored, become a member of the Radio Hall of Fame at the Museum of Broadcast Communications in Chicago. Call 1-800-860-9559 for more information.
Now, we're back with our salute to the 1992 Hall of Fame. Syndicated programs. They were first to showcase Dick Clark, Larry King, Charles Osgood. Each of these is already an alumnus of the Hall of Fame. To present tonight's Syndicated Personality Award, here's another of the most honored names in the broadcasting industry, the founder and the president of the Museum of Broadcast Communications here in Chicago. Indeed, it was he who brought the Radio Hall of Fame to this museum, and all the while hosting his own syndicated radio program, Inside Politics. A mentor of the contemporary radio industry, a treasured friend to all of us in it, Mr. Bruce Dumont.
The Contemporary Network or Syndicated Personality Award is given to an active broadcaster who has had at least 10 years of significant contributions to the industry. Paul Harvey joins the list of alumni for this award, and this year it is my honor to present the award to the King of the Countdown. Casey Kasem recently celebrated his 21st anniversary of counting down America's favorite music hits on radio. Casey's Top 40 and Casey's Countdown air on more than 500 radio stations across America. Those shows earned him the Billboard Magazine Radio Award for Best National Top 40 Radio Show for 3 years straight. He even has his own star on the Hollywood Boulevard Walk of Fame.
The Lone Ranger. Next time I've got trouble to face, I'll meet it as a man should, head on.
That's the kind of talk I like to hear.
It's the kind of talk I heard from our friend.
Yeah, who's that?
The Lone Ranger.
WJBK Radio.
1500 on your dial.
That wraps up the first 55 minutes of music on the Casey at the Mike Show. Upcoming in 5 minutes, more records on WJBK Radio. Hello there, Casey at the mic on WJW Radio, Radio 85 in Cleveland, Ohio, along with Tom Carson with Hotline News and Police Beat. Dave, bring them too. They'll keep you ahead of the news. The Caser and the Hammer keep you ahead of the sound. Stand by, Happy Hallett's taking on a 3-count daddy. 1, 2, 3. All right. Here's your favorite.
I fought the law won. Bobby Fuller 4 on the Casey Kasem program. Los Angeles temperatures 75 degrees. Good afternoon, everybody. KR Relay request time. 3 minutes now, past 12 o'clock.
Heinz ketchup. Think how good it's going to taste when it finally gets there. Shasta. We make 14 flavors the Chevron way. American greetings cards. Datsun Little Hustler. Farmers Insurance Group. Columbia Pictures. Little Friskies. Bank of America. First National Bank of Oregon. First Federal Savings of Washington. Citizens National Bank.
Aunt Jemima cornmeal mix. Bank America. Miller High Life beer. Chevrolet corn-free shampoo.
The GM. Mark of Excellence.
Here we go with the top 40 hits in the nation this week on American Top 40. The best-selling and most played songs from the Atlantic to the Pacific, from Canada to Mexico. This is Casey Kasem in Hollywood.
Casey's Top 40.
I'm Casey Kasem. We're counting down the 40 biggest hits in the USA. Now we're up to our request and dedication. It comes to us from a man in New York named Tony. And here's what he writes. Dear Casey, and there you have them, the 25 biggest adult contemporary hits in the USA on Casey's Countdown. This program's a presentation of the Westwood One radio networks. My name's Casey Kasem. Until next week, keep your feet in the ground and keep reaching for the stars. And leave your dial tuned right where it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Radio Hall of Fame is proud to induct Mr. Casey Kasem.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you very much. You know, you stick a microphone in front of a disc jockey and he starts talking. But if you've been doing it as long as most of us here have, you learn to say what you have to say in 60 seconds or less. Now, Mark Twain helped us out by telling us the difference between the right word and the almost right word is the difference between lightning and the lightning bug. And that brings to mind two words, hoping and believing. When you hope something will happen, you want it to happen. When you believe something will happen, you know it will happen. To achieve the kind of success that has led to this great honor today didn't come from just hoping. It came from believing. Because with belief comes commitment. With commitment comes action. And with action comes a lightning that lights the path to ultimate success. And that belief, that commitment, that action, that lightning was sparked by all those talented, unselfish, loving people who believed in me. It is in their name, that I accept this tremendous honor bestowed upon me by my colleagues in radio across America. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
We're live from the Radio Hall of Fame in Chicago. Still to come, the prestigious Pioneer Award. So stay with us.
Any calls, Selma?
No, sir, Mr. Fleener, no calls.
Well, I'm expecting one.
Shall I alert the staff, sir?
You are the staff, Thelma. And as we don't get many calls here at Fleener All Occasion Animal Apparel, I just wanted you to be ready.
And who will the call be from, sir?
Allstate.
Oh, that is exciting.
I called to report a claim to my Allstate agent just a few short minutes ago, and he told me I could expect a follow-up call from a claim specialist within the hour.
And I know how important promptness is to a busy executive such as yourself. Oh, yes.
Any calls, Thelma?
No, sir, Mr. Fleener, no calls.
The Allstate Promise Line. One way of getting your claim handled quickly and thoroughly. It's service that means you're in good hands with Allstate. 39 minutes and 3 seconds, 39 minutes and 4 seconds. It's my call, Thelma.
Yes, Mr. Fleener, it's Allstate.
A member of the Sears Financial Network.
If you love radio as much as I do, you'll be excited to know that starting this year, you can join the Radio Hall of Fame. Yes, you can become part of radio history yourself, helping the Radio Hall of Fame to grow into the future. Your membership means your name will be on the 1993 Honor Roll inside the Hall of Fame. And you can vote in next year's new Radio Hall of Fame Members' Choice category, where we'll honor one of your favorite personalities in our 1993 ceremony. And, of course, anytime you visit Chicago, come see the Radio Hall of Fame, see the real Charlie McCarthy, open up Fibber McGee's closet, or join the studio audience for special Hall of Fame programs from our state-of-the-art studio. I'm inviting you to join with us tonight by calling 1-800-860-9559, where our operators will give you the details about the $30 membership. So if you want to see the best in radio remembered and honored, become a member of the Radio Hall of Fame at the Museum of Broadcast Communications in Chicago. Call 1-800-860-9559 for more information.
Visit in person, and you are invited. Jack Benny will come back to life electronically to greet you, and Edgar Bergen, Bob Hope, Orson Welles, for these are now members of the Radio Hall of Fame. The next voice you hear will be presenting the 1992 Pioneer Award, and he is a pioneer. The next voice you hear was the ultimate hero, hunk, and heartthrob of the 1940s. The three most recognizable voices in those days were Franklin Roosevelt, Bing Crosby, and, ladies and gentlemen, Les Tremaine.
The Pioneer Award is presented to a broadcaster who has given at least 20 years of dedicated service to the radio industry and has been a leader in developing or improving quality radio programming. It's my extreme pleasure to present the award to a man with whom I've worked many times and whose work I've always admired. Don Ameche began his radio career in 1930 here in Chicago, just as I did. Same year, same town, and dear old Chicago. Don actually honed the leading man role in the First Nighter before handing it over to me, as he had done previously with Grand Hotel, Betty and Bob, and two characters, one of them being Coach Hardy, and the other Captain Hughes, in Jack Armstrong, the All-American Boy. Don Ameche was and is a bona fide radio star.
Campana's Italian Bomb presents the First Nighter program, a copyrighted feature, coast to coast.
Radio actor Don Ameche was the star and leading man on the First Nighter program from Chicago in 1931. In 1936, he moved to Hollywood, where he starred in movies and continued his work on the air as host of one of radio's biggest variety shows, The Chase and Sanborn Hour with Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy.
This is the Chase and Sanborn Hour, and this is Don Ameche.
It certainly is, and you're looking perfectly swell, Don.
Oh, thanks, Charlie. We're all very happy to have as our guest one of the greatest personalities on the screen today, Miss Mae West.
Mae West?
That's right, Mae West.
In 1937, Don Ameche appeared on a controversial broadcast with sultry screen siren Mae West in a sketch about Adam and Eve.
Adam, you don't know a thing about women.
Oh, you apparently forget you were originally one of my own ribs.
Yeah, a rib once, and now I'm beefing.
Me, I know everything about women.
That's covering a lot of territory. Listen, long, lazy, and lukewarm. You think I want to stay in this place all my life?
I do, and I tell you, you're one of my ribs.
Yeah, but one of your floating ribs.
Innocent by today's standards, the skit turned the network on its ear as thousands of listeners protested the then suggestive nature of the material. The program made radio history, and Don Ameche was part of it. He made history again when, in the 1940s, he brought us his best-remembered radio characterization when he teamed with actress Frances Langford as the Bickersons.
I'm barely making enough to keep body and soul together. We don't have any extra money for fancy clothes.
No, but there's always plenty for your precious bourbon.
Oh, now, don't start that again. I never spend a penny on this stuff.
Not much. The whole house is full of empty bottles. Where'd they come from if you didn't buy them?
I never bought an empty bottle in my life.
Well, why don't you get rid of them? Why are you so attached to a lot of dead bourbon bottles?
I was with them when they passed away.
The Radio Hall of Fame is proud to induct Don Ameche. Unfortunately, and I hope you don't think I'm pulling a fast one on you, Don couldn't make it here tonight, so as I have done before, I accept this award for him, and I'll make sure it's delivered to him. Thank you.
Americans, this has been the first of an annual salute to the best of the best in radio broadcasting. I hope you have shared our excitement in further honoring such names as Don Ameche and Leonard Goldenson, Kasem, JP McCarthy, and Porter Wagoner representing the Grand Ole Opry. So the WKRPs have all grown up, but it is windy on top. They have earned our applause, as have you, for you are and will ever be our expanded and expanding family. From all of us minstrels of the microphone, thank you. From Chicago, Paul Harvey. Good night.
The 1992 Radio Hall of Fame induction ceremonies has been brought to you in part by your Allstate agent. For home, auto, life, and business insurance, you're in good hands with Allstate. The executive producer of the 1992 Radio Hall of Fame broadcast is Brad Saul. Producer-writer Joyce Richmond. Associate producers David Sherman, Lynn Tornabin, Howard Kaplan, and Susan Kaplan. Special thanks go to Steve Ryan, Katie Rowan, and Connie Usray of the Radio Hall of Fame, to Carla Humans, and to Randy Meyer of WOGL CBS Radio in Philadelphia, to the ABC Radio Network, and to IDB Communications Group. Production audio provided by Bridgewater Sound, with technical direction by Paul Driggs and Sam Humans. Our musical director, Stanley Paul. Our stage manager, Susan Andrini, and our director, Scott Yankus. Voting and tabulation for tonight's event were supervised by the accounting firm of Checkers, Simon & Rossner. Hotel accommodations by the Hyatt Regency Chicago, the official hotel of the Radio Hall of Fame. And airfare provided by American Airlines, the official airline of the Radio Hall of Fame. With thanks to WGN Radio in Chicago and to all of the stations along the Radio Hall of Fame network, this is Don Pardo saying good night from Chicago.